Good morning and welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and I'm here in Howard, Kansas at the Bellar Farm where it is nighttime as well as harvest time. We will follow Mike through his crop and hog production, as well as talk to him about his involvement in the Kansas soybean industry. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by TALLGRASS Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Good morning and welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and we're here in Howard, Kansas with Ben, Ethan, and Mike Bellar. So to start off, Mike, tell me about the history of this farm and how long it's been going.
I'm the third generation here on this farm, and these two boys, and plus I have another son, Luke, they will be the the fourth generation on this farm. I had my grandpa, my dad, and then myself. My grandpa and dad didn't farm a whole lot, and we've this third generation, which is my wife and I, we've kind of expanded on that, and we hope to be able to bring 3 sons in to farm. We're going to have to go through another expansion here in the near future, but we hope we can make it successful and bring all 3 boys home to farm.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any plans in place for the next generation of farming with your boys?
Well, finding land to rent or buy is going to be a big challenge. We may have to diversify to an area farther away than what we've been going to farm. We may have to go 30, 40 miles at some point in time. I don't know yet. Ethan's still in high school, so he's not here full time, and the other 2 boys have just graduated college, and so we're kind of playing it by ear to a certain extent. We kind of have a long range goal in mind, but it's just going to take a little while to implement it.
What do your sons do here on the farm? I know you mentioned your one son is kind of in charge of your hog operation. What roles do they play here?
Luke is running the finishing end on the hogs. It's pretty well full-time job doing that. Ben, he hauls commodities most of the time, but during harvest or wheat planting or on weekends he's home and he helps here on the farm. And until I decide to give it up and turn it over to him, or we find some more land to farm, he'll probably continue doing that.
Okay, thank you guys. We will be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
I'm a patient of the Kansas Regenerative Medicine in Manhattan. I had stem cell therapy in my hips and my left knee. My wife and I both are patients. We went down there the same day in November. Since then, my hips are feeling a lot better. I can work now most of the day if I want to. And before, if I worked in the morning, I was done in the afternoon, or if I worked in the afternoon, I was sure enough done for the rest of the day.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Lecompton. The name was splashed across newspapers throughout America and Europe. It was debated in the halls of Congress. Lecompton interprets its unique territorial history with 2 museums and other sites. Events throughout the year celebrate history and community. Visit the Territorial Capitol Museum, where more than 70 trees are displayed with thousands of antique and vintage ornaments, and be sure to stop in the gift shops in both Lecompton museums. Spend the day in historic Lecompton, shopping, eating, savoring the rich history.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and we're here with Mike Bellar in Howard, Kansas, in front of his hog operation. So to start off, Mike, tell me some background information on your hog operation.
My dad finished hogs. He started finishing hogs when I was about a sophomore in college. I came up from school and when I graduated, and we built another hog confinement barn for finishing only. Soon after that, my dad retired from the hogs and I took over both barns. Did that for about 12 years. Then I was getting, we were having a little bit of trouble buying feeder pigs, finding a source. So in '93, we built a sow operation to go along with the finishers. We liquidated the sow end after 22 years last July. The sow operation worked very well for us. It made me fully employed. We could market our grain, our corn especially, through the hogs. When we were going full speed on that, I had about 420 sows. We're completely fair to finish. In the process, in that meantime, we'd built 7 more. During that time, we'd built 7 more hog barns for the farrowing, nursery, grower, and finishing end of it. I liquidated the sows. Barns were getting old. They needed updated. I was getting tired of it. We'd managed 3 hired men for those years, and I just needed a change of life. Needed to kind of do something a little bit different. Be able to get away from the farm. For those years with sows, I was very tied down on what was going on. But I have a son that just graduated from Fort Hays State last May, and he's taken over the finishing end. We're buying feeder pigs now, and we'll finish out about, we have capacity for about 3,500 head of hogs, and we'll finish out about 7,500 hogs a year. We're marketing our hogs through Triumph Foods in St. Joe, Missouri, which really works well. Back in '99, we had an episode with $8 fat hog market, and I always said if I ever had a chance to be able to buy into shackle space, I would do that. Well, through Triumph, I'm able to own shackle space, and we market our hogs that way, and we sell them on a carcass basis, and the hogs, then we get dividends from Triumph Foods on a regular basis.
Thank you, Mike. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and I'm back here with Mike Bellar, and we're going to talk about his crop production as well as his hog production and how he combines the two. So Mike, tell me about how your crop production, how you use that for your hog production.
Well, we grind and mix the feed for our hogs. We use corn, soybean meal, and DDGs, plus a vitamin mineral premix. The corn we raise on the farm for the hogs. The soybean meal, we raise the soybeans, but we'll generally take a load of soybeans into Bungie or Cargill and bring a load of soybean meal back. So we're just kind of trading one protein for another. And the DDGs is a corn-based product, but we have to get them from the regional plants on that. But all of our feed is processed here on the farm. We probably average 2.5 hours a day just grinding and mixing feed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you run a diversified production. What does being a diversified production mean to you, and how does it benefit your family?
Well, the hogs are a big part of the diversification. Mm-hmm. It's the hog operation's almost a full person job. The crops, we're diversified in basically 4 crops. We have corn, wheat, full season soybeans, mm-hmm. and then we jump in with double crop soybeans, which is a whole different ball game than first crop soybeans. So basically we have on the crop end we have 4 different chances for maybe better yields or good yields. And with the wheat, corn, and soybeans, I have 3 different ways I can market the products. Approximately on a decent year, half of the corn will go through the hogs, and the other half I'll end up selling. Mm-hmm. We had in 11 and 12 were really tough dry years here, and I ended up having to buy the majority of my corn instead of selling it, and that was a different experience for me.
So just shortly touch on maybe some challenges. You had to buy some corn, some challenges you've had with your production as a whole.
On the crop production, it was the really dry years of 11 and 12. They're pretty tough. Mm-hmm. But I guess I've been through it before. I think it probably bothered my kids worse than it did me. But it's just kind of part of Mother Nature. You mm-hmm. can't control Mother Nature, and you just kind of go with the flow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Mike. We'll be right back after these few words from our sponsors.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, Reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
When your living depends on agriculture, you can depend on KFRM 550 AM. If you're in the southwest three-fourths of Kansas or the northern half of Oklahoma, catch us at 550 AM on the radio dial. But if that isn't you, listen on your cell phone at TuneIn Radio or on your computer at KFRM.com. We promise to keep you informed, entertained, and company as you go through your day. KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains. We would like to join your management team.
Now another gardening tip with Annette Jackson.
Fall is a great time to plant trees, shrubs, and perennials. Root development this fall means more growth with less watering next year. For faster root growth, always use Fertilome Root Stimulator. It is the only stimulator which contains IBA rooting hormone. Use Fertilome tree and shrub food after the plant has been planted for a month.
Save 25% now on Jackson's homegrown hardy perennials. Let Jackson's friendly staff help you select the best plants for your landscape.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla, DeMott, your guest host, and we're here with Mike Bellar in one of his soybean fields. So Mike, tell me about the crops that you produce here and your rotations with those crops.
I plant corn, soybeans, double crop soybeans, and wheat. The corn ground will, after corn harvest, will no-till wheat into the corn stalks. The following spring, after wheat, we'll double crop that ground into soybeans. And then the following year, we'll plant that back to full season soybeans. So basically, I'm getting 4 crops in 3 years through this process. Okay.
When it comes to some practices that you have here, what do you do when it comes to no-till and irrigation and things like that?
We have no water here, so we do not irrigate. But the soybeans and the wheat are all no-tilled. The corn ground, we work it. And we work it primarily in southeast Kansas here to help that we plant corn pretty early and to help kind of warm up the soils. And I'm able to incorporate fertilizer down deeper by working the soil.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are some challenges that you found in the now and in the past with maybe some yield and things like that?
The biggest challenges were 2011 and 12 during the drought. Those were pretty tough times. 11 we raised overall 26 bushel corn, and in 12 it was 38. So it was pretty tough. We're having starting to have some problems with resistant weeds on the soybeans. We're in a time of down prices on grains right now, but that just kind of, I've been in this long enough, I've been through several of these, so it's just another little bump in the road on that.
You mentioned you have some weeds that are becoming resistant. What are those weeds?
Primarily mare's tail and resistant pigweed are our two biggest ones. I will change on my soybeans next year. My pre-emerge, I'm gonna do some different chemicals, and I think I can work through that. It just didn't quite work this year like it should have with all the rain we had last May.
Okay, thank you, Mike. We will be right back after these few messages from our sponsors.
HEINEN Brothers, a fourth-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. HEINEN Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program. 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com. Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome. That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and I'm here with Mike to talk a little bit about his involvement in the Soybean Commission as well as National Soybean Organization. So tell me a little bit about your involvement with those and what you do for those.
I'm one of 7 commissioners that represent Kansas. I'm from the southeast corner. We're a elected position. We have to send in a petition and fill out a petition, and we have to be elected to do this job. The Soybean Commission, we receive of every checkoff dollar, the Kansas Commission receives half of it, and the other half will go to the national. We do research. We do the picking out of research projects for Kansas farmers and things to help them improve yields, disease control, weed control. We work on several different avenues of that, plus a little bit of research on maybe plastics or polymers and issues like that.
You mentioned the National Soybean Organization, and what does it serve for the soybean industry?
Well, the United Soybean Board, half of the money from every state goes to them, and they do probably more national projects. They'll do projects in other parts of the world to promote soybeans and to help everybody, just to help get more soybeans in other countries to use up our production. It's very important.
So what else do you do with the soybean industry?
I'm appointed from our Kansas Soybean Commission to the National Transportation Coalition Committee. There are approximately 20 members on it from across the nation, and we meet 3 times a year. We go over issues on transportation of the soybeans. We talk a lot about the lock and dam system, ways to kind of get that. It's getting outdated, ways to maybe get funding. We talk about the ports where soybeans are offloaded to go to other countries, on ways to maybe some of these old ports, they aren't deep enough to get some of these new ships in, and maybe ways for that. A major problem is the aging bridge system in the United States, and maybe we've been talking about new ways to on bridges, new tests on to test bridges. Probably about it.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Thank you for watching That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host. Stay with us for next week's episode on That's My Farm.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress. Powered by Kansas farmers. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.